Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy for Now. It's me, Isabel, here with my manga log for the last 3 months. So first things first, I do want to note I'm not going to be going through my reads from April because there's a whole dedicated manga log for that, because after 30 and 30 it's kind of mandatory when you read like 40 to 50 volumes in a month. Yeah, so that's going to be linked down below for you or up above, wherever you want to go to check those out. But yeah, I've read a lot of manga in the last 3 months. I'm pretty proud of myself. It's not as much as I wanted to read post 30 and 30, but we got a dive coming into like buying practices and things I want to change in the future for how I read manga. Coming soon, and books too as well. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. But either way, let's just quickly run through my stats for manga in the last 3 months. So I read a total of 66 volumes. This was 62 mangas and 4 manhwas. I did not do a demographic breakdown because honestly, it's pretty heavy josei and shoujo. As always, I did read though like all of Demon Slayer. That's in my April wrap up, and things like that. So there are seinen and shonen titles in there. It's just fewer and further between, we'll say. But yeah, let's dive into everything I've read since May. Okay, so I read an arc of this, The Yakuza Bias. I actually want to reread it now that I have it physically, but this follows someone who's in the Yakuza and has a bias towards a K-pop group. It's really, really, really funny and really silly, and if you've ever partaken in idol culture, I think you'll find this really, really enjoyable and fun. It also has like a fun, shiny foiled edge, which I really enjoy. But this made me giggle out loud multiple times. I got an arc from the publisher on NetGalley, and then I bought a physical copy because I liked it that much. That's just how it worked out. I really enjoyed it. So I was like, I gotta have another copy. Then I read Nina the Starry Bride Volume 9. This continues to be one of my favorite digital mangas. I plan to continue to buy it as it releases digitally because I'm not gonna wait for the physicals to eventually come out and be caught up. But this Volume 9 I think was a wonderful continuation. This is a series in which I think I will just like reread it when it wraps up because it's just that good. Like, it's just that good. It is one of the best fantasy romance mangas I'm reading right now, and I'm sad that it's only available digitally currently because I do think more people need to experience this world. I just think it's really good. It's really fun. It's a party. I'm thrilled I read it. And then we have a book I have wanted to read for a while because everybody talks about the series, and that Viz app launched in May. So listen, when the Viz app launched, I was like, oh, life-changing, because QQ Sweeper's on there, and I want to read that, and I want to read Queen's Quality as well, but you're supposed to read QQ Sweeper first, volumes 1 through 3, complete series, and that means I read QQ Sweeper volume 1 and actually picked up 2 and 3 physically, like, at the bookstore, so now I just need to wait for reprints on 1, and I'll be good to go. But either way, y'all, QQ Sweeper is really good, and I really am excited to finish up the series. I will be finishing it up in this next quarter, like 100%. There's no reason for me not to. But QQ Sweeper is about a girl who doesn't really have anywhere to go and ends up at this college and needs somewhere to stay. She ends up moving in with these cleaners who kind of clean up weird paranormal beings and monsters, and gets a job doing that so she can pay for school kind of room and board situation. Volume 1 has me very intrigued already. I cannot wait to continue. I think it's one of those ones that if you've seen it talked about a lot and you were like me, like, I'm never going to be able to buy these because they're so hard to get. And I'm not going to pay $50 for a volume of manga. I cannot bring myself to do it. So if you're like me and been waiting for that, the Viz app has it. It's a perfect way to read it. Then we have, of course, the obligatory reread happening, which is Yona of the Dawn. So I did read volume 16 through 20 of Yona in May. And I mean, if you aren't reading one of my all-time favorite fantasy romances, this is to blame for my current manga situation, because if I hadn't have started Yona, I don't know if I'd be where I am right now in my collection or the amount of manga I read or anything. This is kind of what got me right back in. I was able to get a lot of it through my library, and I then was able to quickly like get the rest. I think I marathoned like lots of it in like October 2020, like a lot of it. Yeah, so I've continued this reread. We are doing the Yona read along. If you've not been following, there are live shows that we've been doing for these. They're over on Shay's channel. I did miss the last read along, so I've not read my volumes yet for it, so Yikes. It's fine. I'm excited. I'll read them probably early this month of July and then get the next set done. But yeah, this has been delightful and I'm really appreciating the reread because there are things I'm seeing that I never saw before, which is always like a really fun thing when you reread a series like this, especially one that has go up to like 38 volumes in print in the US. Like, there's just so many things we miss. So I'm just really happy. Really, really happy. The last thing I read in May was probably one of my most anticipated returns, which was A Sign of Affection, volume 6. Oh my god, we've been waiting for a while for volume 6, and volume 5 left off in a decent spot. So like I wasn't too upset, but like also volume 6. Hello. This was just amazing, delightful. I loved every moment of it. This continues to just be one of those really great slice of life, watching a romantic journey happen books. You know, it's not super high stress. It's very real. It feels very real and realistic to their relationship growth and where they're going and where they came from, and just all the things are there and they're just the cutest. And I now have to wait for volume 7. Okay, next I read the josei that is taking over Twitter briefly. I read volume 1, which is Changes of Heart, and I'm so mad. Volume 2 is still like $10, so I'm not buying it yet. I'll spend like $7.99-ish on digital manga, but after that it's kind of my cutoff point. So I'm waiting for the price drop on volume 2 and the rest of the volumes because I loved this josei. This is a friends to lovers. She gets drunk and they end up hooking up, and she's like, why do guys always leave me after sex? And he's like, well, I've always been in love with you. And they like go on their first date together, and there's just the perfect tension, the perfect yearning. And it wasn't like the creepy like I've always had a crush on you thing. It was just kind of a like, well, I like you, so let's go on a date. And they do, and it's really cute, and I need more. But again, $9.99. I can't do it. I don't know. Does anybody else have a weird like price point number at which they can't do for things? But I also read Yakuza Fiancé volume 3 and screaming. This is such a great continuation. I need volume 4 immediately. I want to know where we're going. I want to know what's about to happen because we are taking steps here and a lot of things are happening, I feel like. Things that I kind of expected but didn't expect. So I need the next volume because the next volume will be their trip to her hometown Osaka. And I need the tension. I need the tension and the threat of like the guy she's been friends with forever and him being jealous. I need it so badly. I don't have a problem. It's fine. I just like very specific things. So we have another like highly anticipated sequel that came out. Well, sequel, new volume. And that's volume 3 of the Other Worlds books, Depend on the Bean Counter, to which I am ecstatic and just depressed that I'm caught up on already. And we have another decent wait for volume 4. But this continues to be one of my favorite BLs. I love the isekai setup here and how he wasn't supposed to come through and he doesn't have the magical abilities, so he has to take energy from our knight hero. There's some jealousy tension here that's really fun. And yeah, another delightful volume. I don't want to give too much away, but it has been absolutely amazing watching him fix their accounting basically in this magical world and also develop crushes. And they're both just like so cute and yearning and it's precious. Sweet, sweet beans. Then I read My Boyfriend in Orange, volume 12. I don't have any big updates here. I continue to really enjoy this series. It's another one, like I said, I pick it up like my other digitals when it's under like $7.99. And I enjoyed volume 13. I think it was a fun time. I'm curious to pick up more in this series. I'm really ready for like a time jump kind of though, and for them to be together, if that makes sense. But this one follows them at the competition again, which we watched like earlier in the volumes. So that was nice and refreshing. We also had some like confessions and things happening. But overall, it was a good volume. Not my favorite of all time for this series, but not my least favorite. And then the last physical I read was Imokoi Now I'm in Love, volume 6. Y'all, okay, well, I was both parts sad and happy when I read this because I was nervous because in the opening the mangaka tells us that we're done following the main couple. You get like one chapter with them and then we're going to follow their friends who are going to fall in love now. And at first I was like, oh no, I'm not going to like this. And then I was like, oh, I love this. So I ended up actually thrilled with the continuation of the series. I was very nervous that I wouldn't like it nearly as much. And I do think we're nearing the end of this series. I'll make a note down here with like how many more volumes we have left, but I was actually okay with the pivot. But I read a review and they said that Yagui and Satomi is their favorite old married couple that aren't old and married. And I related to that sentiment. I think I loved this so much because they just were like a very normal couple, and there wasn't a ton of drama and there wasn't a ton of issues. And now we're following their friends find love, which is Noda and Miria. We're watching like have a connection, and it's been really cute and fun and enjoyable the little bit we got in this volume. So I'm optimistic to see where we go. Okay, the last two things I read were digital, and these are on Comixology Unlimited and I think Kindle Unlimited as well. I'm not sure the overlap. I have both subscriptions, so I don't know. For me, they show on Comixology, and that's My Boss's Kitten Volume 1 and 2. First of all, I read Volume 1, I did not like it. I gave it like 3 stars and maybe a 2.5. Then I read Volume 2 and I was like, okay, I kind of like this more. So Volume 1's a little ick feeling, if that makes sense, because it follows a girl who was left at the altar. She goes to visit the house her and her fiance were going to purchase, and is there, and then ends up caught there by her boss, who has purchased the house actually, and is like getting kicked out of her apartment because she said she was going to move out because getting married and moving into this house, and all these things have happened, and people are like judging her and giving her looks, and he kind of decides to take her in and take care of her. It's good as you continue, but that Volume 1 I don't think is a great introduction to the series so far, so I am planning to read the rest of it on Comixology Unlimited here. They're very quick, so that's been kind of nice as like our little refresh when I need something just quick and easy to read. I've been picking these up, so I will be continuing the series and finishing it, but I'm also like, I don't know who to recommend it to. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know who this series is for really, because I was looking for like that josei series with like some smut in it, and it has that, but it also just, the setup is kind of weird at times. So I'm curious to see where it goes as I continue, and maybe then I'll have a better idea of like who this book is for. But yeah, that's everything I read in the last 3 months. I would love to know what manga you read in the last 3 months and freaking loved, if you think I should pick it up. If you don't want to do that, you can leave me a sleepy emoji, because I'm staring at Peace like passed out on my couch in here, and I'm kind of jealous at how asleep she is. But yeah, you can do that in the comments, and I'll have links to all these manga and that video for my 30 and 30 wrap up down below for you, as well as links to be my friend anywhere on the internet, and I'll talk to you in just a few days. Bye!
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited